This recording is going to go over how to complete the Module 3 practice exercises. So this will be helpful in completing homework 3 as well as in the future homework assignments. So here we're going to have open our SPSS data file called survey underscore M3. And this has a total of 26 variables, and we have a number of response options. I'm not even sure how many there are right now. So what we're going to do is follow all the instructions here in order to just have some knowledge of what we're looking to do in the future. So number one, the following exercises give you some practice, process of adding together scores for individual questions to create a scale score or a subscale score. So these, we're going to use the compute function to find new total scale scores as well as subscales. So this is oftentimes used when you're using scales for things like anxiety. This is the emotion, thoughts, and physical total perceived control of internal status scale. But there's many others that you may use in your career in health and physical education, in any type of exercise setting. You may use these different scales to, they have a total score and then as well as subscales that are different parts of the whole score. So first we're going to create a new variable that has the total score for all of the variables. So in SPSS, we're going to go to data, transform compute variable. So remember, if I tell you to create or compute a variable, you want to use this compute variable function. If I ask you to recode a variable, you'll want to use the recode into different categories function. So in this case, our target variable, I asked you to call it PC underscore total. So that's what we'll put in our target variable. Then our numeric expression is how we want SPSS to go through each individual person who completed this survey and add together their scores. So since we want all of the scores for every question, PC 1 through PC 18, we want to add all of them together. Now I know that it would be great if there was a way to add every single one in a simple way, but what we need to do is add each of them individually. So what I'm going to do is right click in my variable breakdown list, and when I do that, I will get this pop-up menu that has options, and I want to use the display variable names because they're shorter and they're easier to see. So there's two ways to do this. I'll show you both ways. The first way is just double clicking on PC1 and then typing in a plus symbol, or you can actually type in PC2 plus PC3. Now the advantage to using just the double click function is that you don't spell anything incorrectly. So this is especially useful if your variable names are longer. So you can see I'm just going through and double clicking on each individual variable from PC1 all the way through to PC18. I know it's not super fun and exciting, but it's much faster to do this than to go through manually and add all of the scores from all of the questions for each individual person. So when you're done, you should have all of the PC 1 through 18 added together. There's no through button in SPSS that you would just need to type PC1 and PC18. It needs to know every single variable that you want it to add together. And you'll notice that a few of these have a space between the PC3 and the plus symbol. If it has a space or not doesn't matter to SPSS. It's just looking at the symbols of what's actually showing up. It doesn't look at spaces in this numeric expression. So now that we've done that, I just want to add a label to our variable. This way I don't have to go back in later. I told you to label it total perceived control of internal scales state, PCOISS. So I'm just going to copy and paste that into here from the Oh, it won't let me copy and paste. Oh man. So let me type it. Total perceived control of internal states scale. Just PCOISS. Then continue. Since this is numeric, it's good to keep it as the numeric type. Continue. Then we'll press OK. And now SPSS output is going to say, oh, look at that. I added it all together, I added a label, and I did it. Now in our SPSS file, we now see this new variable called PC total, and it tells us the total score here for those 18 items. That was part A of number 1. Part B is to calculate the emotion subscale. So I don't expect you to know that the items 1 through 6 are the emotion subscale of this tool that you may or may not have heard of previously. I would tell you which items would be included in that subscale if you needed to do this on a homework assignment or something. So we're going to go back to that transform compute. Now we're going to change the target variable to PC underscore emotion because that's what we want to use. And then I'm just going to delete everything from the plus symbol after PC6 to the PC18. Then I don't have to retype it all again. So I have PC1 plus PC2 plus PC3 plus PC4 plus PC5 plus PC6. Then we want to go back and label this PCOISS, and this is the emotion subscale. And continue, then OK. Now that is created, and it shows up in our variable view. And again, I'm just going to get rid of those decimals because they annoy me. The next option, or the next scale we're going to make is 1C, the thoughts scale. So this is the items 7 through 12. Again, transform, compute variable. Then we're going to change the target variable from emotion to PC underscore thought, or you could call it thoughts. Then we're going to go into the type and label. Just going to change emotion to thoughts, press continue. Then I'm going to change the numbers next to PC to 7, so PC7 plus PC8 plus PC9 plus PC10 plus PC11 plus PC12. Or you could double click in the variables on the right and add the plus signs in between them. Either one way will get you where you need to be. After you have that done, you'll press OK. Shows up that it did that in SPSS. The output, going to get rid of those decimals, and you have the new variable there created in your variable view. The last one we're going to create is the physical subscale, where we're adding items 13 to 18. So we're going to call this PC physical. Transform, compute variable, PC underscore physical. Type in label, change thoughts to physical. Continue. Then we're going to change the numbers to 13, 14, 15, 16, PC 17 plus PT 18. Then we'll press OK. SPSS runs through, tells us it did that. Get rid of those decimals. And I made a new variable, so I'm just going to clear that out because that was an extra one that we don't need. So here we have our 4 newly created variables that we use the compute function for. Alrighty. So what are we going to do next? Part 1E. Check the descriptive statistics, the mean, standard deviation, minimum, and maximum for the total scale and the 3 new subscales. So to do this, we want to go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics. We could do this in frequencies, but descriptives, that procedure gives us all those values and it's much faster. So we'll click Descriptives. I'm going to right click here and display variable names again. I'm just going to bring over PC total, through PC Physical. So if you shift and click, you can highlight all four and bring them over at once. Then you get all of the values in one run instead of going back through this process multiple times. Oops, I've hit cancel, so now I gotta do it again. Analyze descriptive statistics, descriptives again. Right click, display the variable names, then PC total through PC Physical, and OK. Now in my descriptives here, my output window, I see that there's a total of 400 individuals in our sample. The total scores for the total scale score was, the minimum was 32, the maximum was 82. There was a mean of 56.5 and a standard deviation of 6.3. Then the subscales, the emotion had a minimum of 8, a max of 29. Thoughts, a minimum of 8, a maximum of 29. Physical, a minimum of 9 and a maximum of 30. And then the means were 19.3, 19.1, and 18.0. So those are just some information about these, and I may ask you to report specifically the mean and standard deviation for these or something of that nature. But that's all I was looking for you to do, is just look and see what it looked like, what the results showed up to be. Now moving on to number 2. So this, we're going to recode a variable that has 8 response options into a new variable that has only 2 options. So we're using the variable marital status, and the responses for our survey the data we're using were single, in a steady relationship, living with a partner, married for the first time, remarried, separated, divorced, and widowed. That's a lot of options. A lot of times in tables, we're not going to have enough space to list all of those options. So we're going to narrow it down into 2 categories. But I'm getting ahead of myself. The first step is to run a frequency procedure on the variable marital status to find out how many people fall into each category. So we'll go back to SPSS, analyze, descriptive statistics, frequencies. Then we want to bring over the marital status variable and just run a simple frequency. We don't need any statistics, just the frequency table. So here are all of our results in the output. So people did answer, at least 7 people answered each of those options in the marital status category. So, okay, so we know that that's something, but maybe we want to narrow this down into 2 groups. So we want to narrow this into people that are in a relationship and compare those people to people that are not in a relationship. So now we're going to have to create a new variable from the data in the file from marital status. So we are going to use the recode function, so transform, recode into different variables. Then our input variable is going to be marital status, and our output variable will be called relationship, because that's what I said to call it in the practice activity. And this is relationship status. I'm just going to say in a relationship or not. And that can be super descriptive or less descriptive, whatever you need. Then we're going to click the change button so that this question mark changes into what we're telling it's going to be our new variable, the output variable. So we click change, and now it's going to change marital to relationship. Marital will still be in our function, in our SPSS file, but we're also going to have this new variable, relationship. We need to put in the old values from the marital variable to the new values we want our relationship variable to have. So the first group that we're going to code in our new variable as 0 are those people not in a relationship. So what we want to do is go through these response options and ask ourselves, would this person be in a relationship or not? If you responded as being single, would that make you in a relationship or not? You would not be in a relationship if you identify as single. hopefully. For the purposes of this exercise, if you say you're single, that means you're not in a relationship. So the old value would be this 1 in it was the first response option. And our new value, not being in a relationship, is going to be a 0. So a 1, which was single in our old value, will now be a 0 or not in a relationship for our new variable. Add. The second option, in a steady relationship. So if you respond as being in a steady relationship, are you in a relationship or not? You're in a relationship. So that's going to be coded in our new variable as 1. And since that was the second response option, it's going to be coded as 2 in that old value or the old variable. Then we'll click add. The third response option was living with a partner, value 3. So if you are living with a partner, are you in a relationship or not? Okay, well, let's say that living with a partner means you are in a relationship. So that means we would code this as 1. Add. The fourth option is being married for the first time. That's 4 in the old variable. In our new variable, is being married in a relationship or not? In a relationship. So again, we'll code that as 1. Number 5 is being remarried. If you identify as being remarried, are you in a relationship or not? You're in a relationship, so you would be coded in our new variable as 1. The sixth option is separated. So if you're separated, are you in a relationship or not? Okay, well, this one's debatable, but since I told you that single, separated, divorced, and widowed should be not in a relationship, we're going to say that if you identified as separated, you're not in a relationship. So we're going to put you in our new variable as a 0. If you're divorced, are you in a relationship? Well, you could be, but if you only answered this question as divorced, then you would be saying that you're not in a relationship, so a 0. And the last option, number 8, is widowed. So if you have been widowed, then are you in a relationship or not? If that's the only response to this, you're going to be not in a relationship, so that would be a 0. Then we'll press add. So all of our old values, 1 through 8, because there were 8 options, are coded into 2 new values. So they're either going to be 0, not in a relationship, or 1, in a relationship. Then we can press continue now that all of the old to new values are there. And then we can press OK. Then SPSS tells us that it recoded, it gave us a variable label, and it didn't have any issues. So now in our variable view, I'm not sure why it doesn't like me right now, but let's just make these a little smaller here so you can see what I'm showing you. We have a new variable at the bottom here, number 31 in our variable view, called relationship, and it's the relationship status. Now there's no values. So what if we were going to use this data set again in 6 months? Are we going to remember that 0 means no relationship and 1 means a relationship? Maybe, but to be on the safe side, we're going to put in values. So 0 indicates no relationship, add, and 1 indicates in a relationship, add. Well, maybe I want to change this from no relationship to not in a relationship. I can change that there again and just click the change button. It's a little nicer way of putting that. And then once we have those the way we want them to look, we can press OK. Again, I'm going to get rid of those decimals because they make me jump out of my skin. So now what do we do for part 2, C? We want to run a frequency on the new variable relationship and compare this with the results of the frequency on the original variable, marital. So let's go to Analyze Descriptive Statistics Frequencies. We can leave marital status there, and we'll just bring over the relationship status option and press OK. So now we have 2 frequency tables. We have the marital status original question, and then we have our relationship status question that we just made from the marital status. And what this is showing is just that there's 400 people total in the original, and there's still 400 people here. There's no one missing. If this showed us someone was missing, we missed someone when we were recoding. Then we would want to go back and re-walk through each option in the original to make sure they came to one of these options in our new variable. So now that we ran that, we want to make sure that there's the correct number of cases or the correct number of individuals in each of the new groups. So to do this, we're going to run the crosstabs procedure. So we're going to go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, and then this fourth option, Crosstabs. We'll bring our original variable marital into the row and our new variable relationship status into the columns. Then we'll press OK. Now here we get this cross-tabulation table. It looks kind of fancy, but what this is showing is the first column is just telling us about the marital status options from our original question. And then the two columns with numbers in them show the relationship status, the first being not in a relationship, and the second column in a relationship. And then we have a total at the end. So if they responded to being single originally, we want them to be in the not a relationship group. That's what happened because there's a 0 for the people that originally said they were single in a relationship in our new variable. Steady relationship means they are in a relationship, so there's a 0 in not in a relationship and some number in a relationship. Same thing for living with a partner, 0 and not a relationship. Everyone who said they were living with a partner went into the in a relationship group. Married for the first time, similarly, there's 0 people who are not in a relationship and some number that went to the in a relationship category. Remarried the same way. Then separated, divorced, and widowed. We have those people with going into the not in a relationship, and 0 of them went into the in a relationship category. So this is what we want. If we had coded these incorrectly and somehow the widowed people ended up in the in a relationship category, but we didn't want them there, we would have to go back and redo the recode so that they showed up in not in a relationship. So hopefully that makes sense for 2D. Next, we're trying to see if the mean total PCO-ISS score is higher in males or females. So if we are being asked to report the mean values for both gender, we're going to want to split the file. So we're going to go to Data, Split File. The default is to analyze all cases, but we want to compare groups based on gender. So we'll bring over the gender, and it's going to sort the file by the grouping variable, which is what we just told it to do as gender. Then we'll press OK. Now SPSS says, okay, I sorted the file and then I split it. Now what? So now we have to run a frequency to get that information we're looking for. So Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, we're going to go to Frequencies, we're going to reset this, and we want to look at the total PCO-ISS score. So this total perceived control of internal state status. Survey. Scale. Now we want to go to Statistics. We only need the mean, so we're going to check mean off next in the central tendency area and press Continue. We don't need the display the frequency table, so we're going to uncheck that for this one. Then we'll press OK. So now in our statistics, we have the males with a mean value of 56.79 and the females with a mean value of 56.33. So if you were going to respond in a sentence here, you might say, the mean of PCO-ISS score for males was 56.79, while the female score was 56.33. Males scored higher than females. So that's all that would be looking for in a sentence response here. Number 4, how many, the number in percent, of those individuals who are 50 or older reported that they did have children living at home with them. So this hint is saying to use the split file function, but actually we want to use the select cases function. So if you did this and use the split file, I'm sorry, because that's not going to do what we wanted to do. So we want to go in here, and first we need to turn off the split file. So to do that, we'll go to Data, Split File, then select Analyze All Cases, Do Not Create Groups, and press OK. Then output says Split File Off. Now we want to go to Data and go to Select Cases. Here we're going to go if the condition is satisfied, then we'll click If. Now we want people whose age was 50 or older. So the age variable is called age, so we'll bring that over. And here we're going to use these numerator, or these response mathematical symbols to indicate how we want this to be. So we want those who are 50 or older. So those whose age in the file is greater than or equal to 50. Or you can use this button here. And if you want to use the letters, you could use GE, but then you need to put spaces. If you are using the symbols, the greater than and equal symbols, you don't need to have spaces, but if you do, it's fine. So this is telling SPSS that if the age in the file of every person is greater than or equal to 50, we want to include them in any analysis we do after we run this select cases. So age greater than equal to 50, continue. Then we're going to press OK. Now SPSS gives us this little spit out of text, and it says execute, and it doesn't have any errors. So now if we run any sort of procedure, we're going to have only those whose age is 50 years or older in the file. Now we want the number in percent, so that automatically tells me we want to look at a frequency procedure. So we're going to go to Analyze, Descriptive Statistics, Frequencies. I'm going to reset this, and then we want to look at the variable that asks about children living at home. So what variable was that? Oh, do you have any children currently living at home with you? Which is called child. So we'll select that and bring it over to the variable column on the right side. We don't need any statistics. We do need the display frequency tables. Then we'll press OK. And now we have a table that shows a total of 68 individuals. This is good. We know that there's a total of 400 individuals in the total data file. But when we have this select cases on, there's only 68 individuals who responded that they're 50 or older. Now, this question's asking how many of these people said that yes, they have children living at home with them. So those that responded yes to this question would be 27 is the number, and 39.7 would be the percent. So I'm going to write this as a total of 27 individuals, 39 in parentheses 39.7% reported that they had children living at home with them. But that doesn't tell me about the age that we selected. So I'm going to say of those 50 and older, a total of 27 individuals, 39.7%, reported that they had children living at home with them. And that's just a good one-sentence summary of the results that we just did. So if you have any questions about this Module 3 practice exercise, please send me an email and I will be happy to answer. Good luck on the homework!